I am the father.
No.
I like that. It makes me feel a little sick.
That was a wrong choice. Make choices in life. I made the wrong one.
I'm 50 years old and I've never tried a rat. But why not do it now on a camera in front of people on a song I don't know anything about?
Hi, I'm Kelly and welcome to the AMS Tone Labs. Russ and Ryan are known around AMS for their musical expertise, but how good are they at matching guitar tones? We invited them in to show us what they got in our first ever Game of Tones.
How about you guys introduce yourselves to the people watching?
I'm Ryan.
I'm Russ. Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean to the people watching. My name's Ryan Dacey. I have been playing guitar for 40 some odd years. I know it doesn't look like it. And if you see me play, it doesn't sound like it.
I'm Russ Mack. I've been playing guitar, I don't know the math of it, but I'm just gonna say 13 years old is when I picked it up. And before guitar was actually bass. My uncle lent me a Carlo Robelli bass, and that was my, you remember the Carlo Robelli bass?
I do, absolutely.
Maple neck, tobacco sunburst.
Maple.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you guys remember the first song you ever learned?
Actually do. Bush Glycerine.
Well, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But if you played
Power
it,
chords.
if you played it for a guy or a girl, they'd be impressed.
It was.
One
It was
of
right in the
songs.
90s,
Yeah,
so
right.
it was a perfect time for that one.
Right. Yeah.
Do you remember yours?
Yeah, I was home alone a lot, which is a big shocker. No, the first song I ever learned was probably Roll Over Beethoven, some sort of Chuck Berry. But the first solo I ever learned was Living on a Prayer.
Really?
By the Bon Jovis.
The rules for Game of Tones are simple. Using Isotope RX10, we have isolated a guitar track so that Russ and Ryan do not know the source, and they'll do their best to reproduce the tone that they hear. Then, using any guitar and amp combo on the set, they will choose from the pedals that we've assembled for them. They can refer back to the track as many times as they wish, but they will only have one mulligan to swap out any piece of gear they want. Now, let the games begin.
If I'm being honest, I'm a little nervous. Walked in, I saw this kind of table with a lot of pedals. It seems like a fairly large board underneath here, so I kind of don't know what to expect. But the songs got me a little bit more tripped up, only because you did promise me no shredding, because I'm not a shredder. So if I have to replicate this, you're gonna hear a lot of, we're gonna have a problem.
I feel pretty good. I'm tired. It's been a long week, but not bad. Got to warm up. My hands are cold, but I feel like once things get rolling, I'll be ready to go.
If we're doing a pedal board that's this large, at least unless you have a lot of filler here, I'm thinking that we're doing something atmospheric, because we're definitely gonna be using effects. It's not just gonna be a straight up overdrive is my guess.
I thought you were going to get clever with it and do like a bass line or something, because I'm a guitar player and we all know the guitar players, when they try to play bass, it's usually a bad idea. So I'm assuming it's a guitar line, and that's where I've ended it. I've speculated on a couple different scenarios, and I decided to just put it out of my mind, not even think about it. Those were hard questions, by the way. I'm tired now. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready for whatever.
Is it the moment of truth?
Think so?
This has got the, yeah, I'm definitely nervous here. What are these? Austrian Audio. HI. Nice. All right. So, space bar. I was definitely right with atmospheric right out of the gate. Holy. There's definitely a stuttery effect that I'm hearing. I'm gonna want reverb right out of the gate. There's like kind of a drone-y sound underneath. And I don't want to say tremolo per se, but there's a... Definitely gonna have to get a good overdrive. Okay. And how many effect pedals do I get to use, Kelly?
As many as you want.
Oh, this is like, okay, so I can go, so I can take the whole board. By the way, I have no idea who this artist is, but I like it.
I think it's safe to say I've never heard this before, that I know of. But I get it. I think I know what's going on. I'm hearing some sort of modulation. I'm thinking like a flanger, something that's kind of giving me like I'm in a tunnel kind of sound, a little bit of that whoosh, but with a really slow rate. So it's not that full, like, throbbing, pulsating thing, but then there's definitely a tremolo going on. I'm hearing volume going in and out. Obviously some sort of dirt, because dirt makes playing easier and it makes me happy. I like filth.
I'm gonna want an overdrive. I'm not gonna want to go too heavy on the distortion wise. I think it's just flat out a nice solid overdrive that's gonna require reverb. And the one part that's got me the most baffled is, I don't want to say, and it might sound foolish with this, but the tremolo or something that's going throughout. So depending on what you gave me is depending on where I'm going to kind of like navigate and head to for trying to replicate the. So what do we got here today? This kind of is a fixed situation because I have one of my own personal guitars in here, but I'm looking and assessing and evaluating. So that one did strike me, the Sterling Music Man. I believe that's a Petrucci model. However, I am going to lean towards my PRS. This is my PRS Fiore with the DiMarzio clip lock. I don't know if you want to call this lava, retro, vintage 80s feel going on to it.
I'm choosing a Les Paul. It's a 1958 reissue, custom shop from Gibson. I feel like a good guitar, especially one with humbuckers in it, if it sounds good clean, it's gonna sound good with anything else. It doesn't do anything overly hyped. It's not overly bassy or trebly. It does what I want it to do. So I think based on what I'm hearing, I should be able to nail this sound in 2 notes.
I feel comfortable with Victory. I mean, these are all great choices, but the Victory V40 Duchess, I actually do have one of those myself, so I feel comfortable with that, and I won't go with the cliche, it's a good pedal platform that sets people off, but it definitely does respond well to being a platform for pedals.
Well, that's the thing. I'm assuming that the pedals are going to do a lot of the lifting, so I don't want something that's going to be overly gainy. I'm not a Fender Twin guy, as great as they are. You know what? I'll use the AC third. No, I'll use the Victory. I feel like it's relatively clean, and it can get me close to the sound that I'm looking for, and then I can kind of augment that with whatever is under this tablecloth.
What do I hope is under this? I think and hope Walrus Audio and Catalan Bread.
Well, I'm hoping that a total maniac didn't come under here and put like 9 metal zones together or something like that. I would like to think that I'll have a little bit of modulation, a little bit of reverb, some sort of dirt pedal, some sort of delay, you know, the typical what would you have on your board if you had to. And then it will be left to me to wrangle the tones out of those boxes and force them through this machine and win the contest.
I wouldn't be surprised if you're giving me some staples. So whether that comes in the fashion of the Tube Screamer or the like, would not throw me. But again, given what I'm looking for, and kind of for that sustain, reverb, hold setting, I'm more or less hoping that there's a Walrus Audio under there that I can tap into. All right, let's see what's under the hood. Can I do that, like the pull the tablecloth and then all the pedal?
God, please, no! 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 No!
Pedals come with it.
I am the father. Oh, wow. Okay, good. Someone nice did this, and I appreciate that. So, I get to pick how many pedals?
As many as you want.
Well, that's a lot of patch cables.
So we do have a mix of brands here. Earthquaker, that was obviously one of the ones that I wanted to call out too. Okay, so am I gonna go through selection process, or can I listen one more time before I kind of like look at them as I listen? Is that okay? Acceptable? I'm not gonna be disqualified or anything?
No, go ahead.
Okay. But now at least I have a palette. I'm talking louder, aren't I? So first and foremost, I wanna go for my reverb. I'm gonna go Dispatch Master for my reverb. Then I wanna kinda talk about if there's a little of that flutter that I'm hearing. The C Machine has me intrigued in terms of that. Oh, I did not notice that there's an MXR reverb here that can go, it has a setting called Epic. Yes. I'm gonna backtrack on the Dispatch Master and go for the MXR reverb. I've actually never played through the Blues Driver on my own board in the past. I've played through them, but I almost want to try that one. So I'm gonna go with the dime Crybaby, because I could maybe dial it in a little bit more. I'm gonna roll the dice on the blues driver. I'm gonna go with a little bit more control, a little less effect from like a Dynacomp. I'm not gonna go with that as more of an effect. I'm gonna go with maybe a little bit more of like a traditional compressor. I could mess with the single coil humbucker depending which way I go. And then last one I want is a delay. I might just go with a good old staple of the DD8 digital delay. Actually, take that back. We're gonna go with the Echoplex instead. I'm feeling pretty good.
I'm pretty utilitarian when it comes to effects. That means stupid. So I'm gonna try and keep it as simple as I possibly can. I like the idea of a tape echo or something like that, but I haven't used the UA stuff yet, and I heard only good things, and I don't want to do it a disservice. I'm gonna go with the Walrus ARP 87. Oh, God. We'll pay for that. Do you want to do it again?
Yeah.
That's great.
Shit!
I'm gonna go with the Walrus ARP 87, because that's gonna give me a little bit of that warble I need. I have a Dispatch Master and it's awesome, so I'm gonna use that from Earthquaker devices. It's not a heavily dirty sound, but I do want some dirt. I'm gonna try the Rat, because I've never tried one. I'm 50 years old and I've never tried a Rat. And that's bad. So why not do it now on a camera in front of people on a song I don't know anything about? I think I could do that with 3 pedals, but I want a little modulation, so we'll go with, use this phaser from JHS. And that's all I need. I need this. No, I'm kidding. That's all I need.
Go with 6, otherwise I'm gonna get too elaborate and maybe lose focus. I feel good. I feel good.
So I like Victory amps. They're known mainly for like British style, you know, tone and everything like that because they're made in Britain. But this particular model I like because it actually sounds really good clean. My theory was, instead of wasting a choice on a pedal for vibrato or tremolo, which is the volume going up and down, I was going to use the onboard tremolo in the amp. And then so to get a little bit of air around the sound, I want to use the Dispatch Master for a little mild repeat on some delay and add some reverb to kind of wet the sound up a little bit. And what I'm not getting from this, I'm gonna get when I add the ARP 87, it's just gonna add a little bit more kind of sonic whackery, which is a technical term we'll talk about after. The phaser is gonna be the modulation sound that I'm looking for. It's gonna give me that kind of tubular, like I'm kind of in a tunnel kind of vibe without too much whoosh going back and forth. Much of the movement is gonna be from the amp and these two guys here. And then, even though I've never used a Rat before, I've heard a million songs that say they used a Rat, so I'm pretty sure I can get the amount of dirt that I want, or lack thereof, from this. And that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm excited about it. And I love you.
All right, we got them all set up. I'm gonna give you a quick layout here. We got the dime bag on my right, your left. Compressor is next in the chain from Keeley, followed by the roll the dice pedal, the Blues Driver BD2. That's feeding into the mystery, don't even know if I'll end up using it, C machine, into the Echoplex delay. And lastly is what I'm banking on and depending on here is the Reverb by MXR with this Epic setting. So we'll see where that takes us. Without any of these pedals engaged right now and just kind of totally going by my memory of what I heard. All right, so I'm gonna start with the Blues Driver. Let's go with the Blues Driver first. Okay, let's go with the compressor. Yeah, I actually do like that. All right, so I'm happy with that out of the gate. We're kind of just starting our canvas.
All right, so. I like everything I'm hearing there. Everything's good there. Let's see what we can get here. I like that. I'm leaving that alone. All right, so what I like about this, it's gonna give me a little bit of modulation. It's not too much. And I think when I use these two together, gives it kind of a little more of an ethereal sound, which I like. And I've not had a chance to really mess with that pedal, so that sounds good. I could see why we sell a lot of those.
So our next ingredient is going into the reverb, hoping that we get something out of this epic setting. Yes. Again, straight up kind of finding our way here. I'm gonna go into see what the C machine can, no. You know what? Let's get into. We're doing something. Assuming we're changing the frequencies. That point of reference, guys, point of reference, go back to the source, because I'm starting to wonder and question myself on how much that filter is actually used. Yeah, I might actually tap that mulligan that they're going to offer me. No. Okay, moving on for a sec. We're going to turn that off because I'm not really feeling like that's the way to go. Let's see what the C machine does from Earthquaker devices. If you could hear that track at home, that is not anything in the ballpark. But that might be that tremolo thing that I was kind of looking for. It's just really wonky right now. Actually, take the depth down, but I'm going to turn the rate up. Now, there's definitely not that much going on. Nice little feedback. All right, let's leave that for the moment. There's clearly some kind of delay or reverb effect that's... We're gonna go delay. All right, the one mulligan I'm gonna take here is I wanna do a phaser. I wanna ditch this and try the phaser to either complement the C machine or replace the C machine altogether, but this has gotta go.
Let's take a look at the phaser here now. I like that. I'm not gonna mess too much. As they say, a good pedal should sound good with everything at 12 o'clock, which this does. Let's mess with the rate. I didn't expect it to do that, and I like it. I like what that's doing. I like that it makes me feel a little sick, which is always a good sign. All right, and then dirt. I'm gonna turn off the trim for a second. It sounds like a rat in a cage.
Oh, a rat!
It almost seemed to make the volume go down a little bit, but I think it's gonna work. And despite all my rage.
And we're back. Take two. You'll notice the board shifted just quite a bit. We took the dime bag wah off. I scooted over the compressor and looped in the phaser. Again, without the phaser. With the phaser. Nope. That was a wrong choice. Make choices in life. I made the wrong one. It's okay. We're gonna go back to our C machine. Yeah, there's something about the C machine to me that brings a little bit more life into that atmosphere. I'm feeling as good as I have so far. I think this is the best I have. I'm leaving the compressor on. I'm gonna turn the sustain up just a little bit more. I'm gonna kind of go with this blend between my clean signal and the compression. I'm torn with the delay where it actually sits. I'm gonna try one more time to fit it in. I like that better. I may have overcomplicated it, but I think I am at a place where in this room, I'm satisfied.
Having mucked about with these pedals, and these are all great. These, I mean, I think I got lucky in some regards in terms of getting close to what I wanted with some pedals that some I'm familiar with and some I'm not. I'm happy with what I've gotten here. It's not 100% on the money, but given the amount of time I've had and how quickly I think we've kind of run through this, I think it's about as close as I'm going to get. I also realized, having listened to it again, that it's an E flat. So even though I was trying to play in the style of what I heard, I want to see if I can do the riffs somewhat more accurately and play it in the right area. So without further ado.
All right, gang, so here is the final tone.
What'd you think of the process? Did you have fun?
Yes, it was a lot of fun. It was unexpected, and it was definitely a challenge, but I enjoyed it. It was thoroughly engaging.
Do you have any idea who the song might be by?
I have thoughts. I have some thoughts as to who it might be by, and they're like wildly conflicting, so it's kind of piling up in my brain. Like, part of me wants to say something like Radiohead, and then part of me is thinking it's something more like kind of classic rock, like kind of Pink Floyd.
I would lean towards your Radiohead. I don't know if I go as far back as Floyd with that, but it would be funny if you're right.
Yeah, it's either those two or Madonna.
You ready?
Yeah.
It's by Sturgill Simpson. The song is called Ronin.
Never.
Wow.
You could have given me 11 guesses, and I would not have gotten it even close.
No, absolutely not.
And I like Sturgill Simpson.
Yeah, just don't know the song.
It's a good riff. I dig it. I like it.
It's funny, I gotta be honest, I thought when it was isolated that was gonna become more from like a post-rock or something more like, not Sturgill.
But that was a good choice because it allowed us to kind of, if it was something we knew so well and inside and out, you have a tendency to almost overcook it a little bit. So
it was good with the balance of the effects too, because there's definitely enough to grab hold of.
Yeah, especially when I did it. Oh, you mean that? Yeah, right. I knew that.
Can we play Russ's?
Go for it. I like the key word was attempt.
Sounds like exactly like it. No, it does. You don't think that sounds like it?
I'll walk you through.
Sounds pretty damn good.
He just
I
paid
didn't
me.
think it mattered if
He
we
just
were
paid
talking.
me a compliment.
It's true. Honestly, it's.
I like the things
He
you
just
said,
paid me
No,
a
I
compliment.
think it sounds exactly
Say it
like
again. Now he's
You
gonna
know-
say change
You know
it.
when you say
Change
something
it.
genuine to somebody and they question you and you're still being genuine, but then you start to laugh because you realize it's coming across as a lie, which I do to Russ a lot. I
So you
thought
can't
honestly,
blame me.
And I'm not being humble. I think that you nailed it. I think it sounded just like it. I thought he was playing the actual thing.
I appreciate it.
Sturgill?
Well, I ended up not using all the effects I chose, to be perfectly honest.
Just take the compliment.
I ended up starting with, I think one of my first choices, which I didn't even feel good about, to be honest, was the Blues Driver BD2. That was kind of like my roll the dice moment. I just wanted to give it a shot and see. He was going to give me a mulligan and just say, if you wanted to sub it out, you could sub it out. I didn't have this as my first choice. This actually ended up being my call-in and my substitute. I ended up doing a Dimebag wah, because I felt like I heard like this notch frequency filter-esque type of thing that I was hoping I could get from it. I probably could have, but I just didn't have the time to sink into it, I guess. So I thought maybe the phaser would fill that gap. When I got it, I really didn't feel comfortable with it. I didn't feel like it was kind of headed where I wanted to with the frequency side of things. The compressor was pretty cool, because with the Keeley compressor, when that was off, I thought that the driver sounded on the not as full, thinner. I know adjectives are subjective, but once that compressor was kicked in, it really kind of felt like it filled things up. The C machine was my other fun choice, because I've never played a C machine before, and I was looking high and low for a tremolo pedal.
You're supposed to wear an eye patch when you use that too.
Right.
People don't know that.
I got something that I was very happy with out of that. It definitely hit the kind of modulation element that I wanted to look for.
There's a lot of swirl going on.
The swirl kind of, I think, filled a little bit of the hole I was feeling where I wanted the tremolo.
Okay.
The Echoplex, to be honest, that wasn't really dialed in very much. I had it just kind of very, very subtle. And then I went with an Epic, I think that's the name of it, that Epic setting.
Yeah.
For the reverb. In my opinion now, hearing back, I think I overdid it with the amount of reverb that in the cans I thought was present. But then when I heard the original off camera afterwards, I'm like, I might have overdone it with the reverb.
I had a feeling like that too when I first heard the track, and again, not being familiar with it, just kind of zeroing in my mind, what did I feel was processing the sound. And then I picked the pedals that I did, which we'll get into, but then I heard it again and I realized, I probably could get away with not using everything that I picked, but it was on the table, so I felt obligated to do it at that point.
Sure.
But like the real reveal for me is the Blues Driver. I was reticent to use that because I just felt that it was one of those pedals that's been used a million times, and I think because it has the word blues in it, people assume you're doing Stevie Ray Vaughan or B.B. King or something. In reality, you could see why so many people use that, because it applies to a riff like this, or to something where a lot of people, even like heavy players, will use it to kick their amp a little tighter.
Right.
Like kind of like you would use a tube screamer. So I was afraid to use that.
Well, can we hear yours?
No. The end.
It's a little like, come on, there's a big teaser right now. I want to hear it. So the big catch that we didn't state is sitting behind you.
Right.
The tremolo.
That was a big part of it, for sure. It definitely helped because we didn't have a tremolo pedal to pick from, and the Victory has it, and it's such a nice sounding tremolo. It sounds really natural. Even, I think I had it almost maxed out on the speed.
Sure.
The depth was where it was.
You went a more minimal approach. You have half as many pedals as I have.
I had 4, actually.
What was your 4th?
We both used the JHS, even though you said...
Oh, okay, that's right.
I wanted to use it because I'm not typically a phaser guy, but when I heard the song and it had that swirly kind of thing that I wanted, and I was initially thinking flanger, and flanger and phaser are kind of strange bedfellows. You could kind of get one to do the other. So the pedals I picked because I felt that they would not only help replicate it, but because it was, I wasn't familiar with the song, and I wanted to see what I could do with some pedals that I wasn't as familiar with.
Yep. So did you get a little bit 2 for 1 for the Dispatch Master?
That was another thing we talked about. I love this. This pedal I am familiar with because I have it on my board.
Yep.
The Earthquaker Dispatch Master is great because, first of all, it sounds good. It's easy to use. It's great reverb. It's great delay. It's 2 great tastes.
How much delay did you blend in?
Not a lot.
Too excited.
In fact, I think that's how, whatever the knobs you see the way they are now, I had everything set at 12 initially, and then I kind of just, twiddled until I found what I wanted to. That doesn't necessarily modulate the repeats, which is what I wanted it to do, and that's where the ARP came in. I just used it, I set it up really subtly, and then I let the depth, or the dampen control, that just added this kind of ethereal quality to the repeats.
Sure.
And then, I've never been a rack guy, not because I have anything against it necessarily, I've just never played one, and it has had a renaissance in the last couple of years, so I thought I could go really heavy with it if I needed to, or you could just dial it back.
You dialed it back.
Yeah, really, really low on the distortion, even at 0 though, it's got a good bit of kick. So I used all 4 pedals, I used them kind of minimally, but I thought that they played well together. I mean, if I had a chance to go back and tweak it again, I probably would, given how close you got to it. But even if at the end of the day I don't nail the sound of what we listened to,
Right.
I was just happy with
what you
the way
got.
it sounded.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded pretty good.
No, agreed. The tremolo added so much though, and that was like the snake. If it was a snake, it could have bit me. It was like standing right behind me. But that would definitely have been the one. And you used voice one as well in the amp?
Yeah.
Did you mess with any of the EQ?
I did not. I typically like amp distortion.
Yeah.
But I figured for a song like this, I wanted a cleaner sound, and then I would let the pedals do the work.
And is that part of the reason why you would also pick the V40 Deluxe?
Yeah, I think it's a good pedal platform for lack of. Some people hate that.
I know,
sound.
I said the same thing before.
But it's true. I wouldn't use a twin. I think I wouldn't have much to hide behind. But I like the way that the Victory compresses a little bit too.
Totally.
It's a little spongier, and it felt good.
Yep.
Even with nothing engaged, I like the sound of a guitar into that amp. It sounded really good.
No, I agree. This was fun. This was a lot of fun. You did a nice job, dude. It sounded
That's
good.
very sweet of you.
Thank you for watching, and be sure to hit like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more content like this. To check out all the gear we used today, go to AmericanMusical.com.